He was just a teenager. No university degree, no government lab, no billion-dollar funding, just curiosity. But that curiosity would grow so powerful that police, bomb squads, and federal agencies would eventually surround his home. Because this teenager was trying to do something almost unthinkable. He wanted to build a nuclear reactor in his backyard. This is the unbelievable true story of David Hahn, the boy who turned curiosity into danger. Some people are born curious. They ask questions. They take things apart. They want to know how the world works. David Hahn was one of those people, but his curiosity was different. It wasn't satisfied with small answers. As a child, he became obsessed with chemistry. While other kids played games, David studied reactions, formulas, and experiments. One gift would change everything. His grandfather gave him a chemistry book filled with experiments. To most children, it would be a normal book. To David, it was a doorway. He read it endlessly. And soon, reading was no longer enough. He wanted to try everything himself. David began building a small laboratory inside his family home. Not a toy lab, a real one. Beakers, glassware, burners, chemicals, the kind of setup that made adults nervous. He spent money collecting books and materials. He searched for more knowledge constantly. But there was one major problem. Curiosity without boundaries can become dangerous. Explosions became common. Smoke-filled room. Burn marks appeared. Furniture was damaged. His parents grew worried. They tried to limit him. Instead, they accidentally gave him more freedom. He was moved away from the main house and given more space. Now David had what every obsessed experimenter wants: privacy. David wasn't reckless because he wanted destruction. He was reckless because he wanted discovery. That's what made him dangerous. Many intelligent people fail because they lack persistence. David had persistence in extreme amounts. He didn't stop when something failed. He doubled down. He searched harder, read more, tested more. But intelligence without wisdom creates a trap. You begin believing you can control things bigger than yourself. And David was heading towards something far bigger than chemistry. At some point, David's fascination shifted. Chemistry was no longer enough. He became captivated by atomic energy, power at the smallest level, energy beyond imagination, science that changed the world. To most people, nuclear science feels distant. To David, it felt reachable. That was the moment curiosity became obsession. He studied everything he could find. He wrote letters, asked questions, collected information. And because he sounded confident, many adults underestimated who they were speaking to. They thought they were helping a student. They were helping a teenager who had no idea how dangerous real-world power could become. David gathered materials, built devices, tested systems, improvised solutions. His neighborhood had no idea what was growing nearby. What looked like junk was part of experiments. What looked like scrap was part of ambition. And slowly, radiation levels around his setup began to rise. That is when the story stopped being weird and became serious.
Because
unlike fire or smoke, radiation is silent.
you don't see it.
You don't smell it, you don't hear it, but it can still harm everyone around it. David had crossed a line he barely understood. Eventually, David realized he might be in over his head. He rushed to dismantle his setup, loaded materials into his car, worked in darkness. To a neighbor, it looked suspicious, a possible theft. Police were called. Officers opened the vehicle. Inside, they found strange equipment and dangerous materials. Bomb squads arrived, then radiation detectors confirmed something terrifying. Radioactive contamination. Authorities were stunned. How could a teenager create something this dangerous? Where did he learn it? How had no one stopped it sooner? The quiet suburban story became national news. Many people called David a genius, others called him reckless. Both were true. He had intelligence, he had drive, he had fearless curiosity, but he lacked mentorship, direction, limits, wisdom. Talent alone is not enough. Motivation alone is not enough. Knowledge without responsibility can become destruction. That is the deeper lesson of David Hahn. David's life after the incident was complicated. He faced legal trouble, public attention, mental health struggles. A life shaped by one extreme chapter. He later served in the military, but instability followed him. The same intensity that once fueled his ambition now became harder to control. Eventually, his story ended tragically, not with scientific glory, not with recognition, but with the weight of a life that never found balance. This is the part people never stop thinking about. What if David had the right mentor? What if his talent had entered real science programs? What if discipline had guided obsession? Could he have become an engineer, a physicist, an innovator? We'll never know, because raw potential is fragile. Without structure, it can burn itself out. David Hahn reminds us that curiosity is powerful, maybe the most powerful force in the world. It builds civilizations, creates medicine, explores space. But when curiosity loses discipline, it can destroy the person carrying it. He wasn't just the radioactive Boy Scout. He was proof that talent needs guidance, and that the brightest sparks can become the most dangerous fires. Final line: some people fail because they never try. Others fail because they try without limits. David Hahn did both.